Hi friends, Kansi here from atop Serenity Hill, and today I want to share a little more about grid journaling, which you might have seen. It might be new to you. I'm going to share a new version. I have my blank journal here, but I wanted to share some older pages that I have done. Some are videos, so I'll link them below. But one of the reasons I love grid journaling is that it divides your page. It's not a whole full page spread. It brings your creative practice down to smaller, manageable sections that then you can do in short bits of time. So I talk a lot about small surfaces. The square would be a small surface, simple supplies, just glue stick and some bits of paper. This is literally scraps that would be lying like in a box or on your table after maybe a collage session, and short bits of time, and short bursts of time, bits, whatever you do, which would be like a minute here, 5 minutes here, 15 minutes there. And that's how you can sustain and keep a daily creative practice, because you're keeping it manageable and not overwhelming yourself. Little bits of time add up over a longer time, if you catch a meaning. So the reason I like it so much is because you can set up a page, and then every time you have some time, you could glue a few bits in. And you could take a week to do this. You could take 2 weeks to do this. I mean, technically, you could do this in a day. I did this on a video, so I did it in maybe an hour or so, if you have that time. But if you don't have that time, then set yourself up where you can tap in, tap out of your creative practice. So this is all different colors of collage bits. Then I also have one where I set up each square as a color. So that's also really fun to have, where if you're playing in your art journal and you have all these little bits left over from another page or another project, then you have somewhere to put them. Okay. And that, it sometimes feels like you're just putting them back into a box or you're throwing them away. But if you just stick them in a square that's got a color attached to it, then it's another way of playing with your creative practice. So this one is a combination of both collage and doodling. Okay, and I'm going to do doodling and watercolor today. And then I wanted to share these two pages, which are, instead of squares, I set up a bunch of random circles, and then I still had the ability to dip in and out, tap in and tap out, as I said before, dip in and out of my creative practice, because if I had a minute, I could just color in the circle. If I had 5 minutes, I could color it in and add some shading, or I could add all these circles. If I had 15 minutes, I could doodle a flower. So I could even break this down, and during the day, I'm on a phone call, I got a minute, I draw a little flower, or I leave this by the coffee maker in the kitchen, and every time I walk by it, I draw another little flower. It all adds up over time. So I just wanted to encourage you to think about your creative practice in small chunks, and how can you set yourself up to have that daily-ish practice. So I'm going to set up a page here. I'm going to use squares. So I've got 2 different size squares. You can use a Post-it, but this is a card deck that is actually a printable that you can get. I will link the playlist below. I did an entire playlist around these inspiration cards. Okay, so that's below, but it was just the perfect size. And then I just cut out a little square of paper because I wanted to have 2 different versions of squares. So you can use a pencil if you want. I'm actually gonna just use my Sharpie. I have a Sharpie pen. Any kind of doodling pen that you enjoy is good. A waterproof one is excellent, of course, because we're going to add some watercolor, or I am. If you are going to, play along with my idea, don't forget that you want your doodling pen to definitely be waterproof, okay? So I had thought this through, and I was like, well, I don't want just squares just marching across the page. So how many different ways can you set up, a grid of squares? And really just because we're calling it a grid doesn't mean it has to be perfectly set up. it's hard for me actually to draw around this little piece of paper. So it's going to be kind of lopsided. It doesn't have to be square, okay? I'm just basically setting up a page, and I'm calling it grid journaling because, that's kind of what the process of setting up all the squares is being referred to, and it helps you understand, kind of where I'm going with the idea. You could freehand all of these. They don't have to be set up. Well, I guess this does have to. I thought I could angle it, but it doesn't work angled, so that's okay. How about, no, we'll just put it here. So, you could freehand them if you wish, okay? So you do you, whatever works. And I'm going to finish setting this up, and then we'll add some watercolor. Okay, so I've got all my squares set up. The plan for me today is to actually draw mandalas, or half mandalas, bits of mandalas. So the other thing I have on hand, besides my watercolors, which are here, are a bunch of circle templates. So that's going to come after I add in all of the watercolor. So you can set this up however you want. I'm just going to start randomly picking some colors, and you can do full circle mandalas if you want, or you can do, like little half sections. It doesn't really matter. I'm just putting down some watercolors so I have something as a background. And it doesn't have to be perfectly circle. We could make it, drip out. I'm using a dot journal here, as opposed to, a watercolor sketch pad or anything. So it's going to take watercolor like a lot differently than maybe if I was using a watercolor pad. Okay. And then as I go, I'm also going to just splatter some paint. So I'm basically going to set up the page. This would be something like if we're talking in, we're working in time amounts, then, this would be me saying, I'm going to put some watercolor down. So maybe for 5 minutes today, I would put some watercolor down. So I'm going to do a whole video of what, as we're going here. So, I'm not stopping, but this is how I want to show you how you could set up your daily practice. Okay. So you can put in, take a couple minutes each day and just put watercolor. How are you feeling? What colors are popping in? Is it a sunny day? Did you see something that, inspired you for a color? Are you wearing a specific color? Are you reading a book and the cover of the book is, this color and it's super fun and you love it? So whatever inspires you as far as color, that's what you could put down. So that could be your practice, noticing color around you, adding, bits of this in your life and what's inspiring you into the book. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and finish adding lots of watercolor to all the little squares. We're going to dry it, and then we'll meet back here with our circle templates and our doodling pen. Okay, so all my colors are out. I just randomly did them. This one I did multiple colors. You can do multiple colors in all of them. And it's dry. It's also super wrinkly, as you can see. The pages are very wrinkly. That doesn't matter to me. This is, again, not watercolor paper. If you're doing this over multiple days, then one of the things that could happen is that you lay a big book on it, or you close the book and smush it down, your journal, and let the pages flatten, or just go with it, y'all. Go with it. So I'm also going to just start setting myself up with some circles. So I have, some cardboard and lids. I have no idea what this is, but it's in my stash of circles, a cookie cutter. And when I draw mandalas, a lot of times I do a lot of them freehand. I don't always set up circles, but it helps to set up circles. And I want you to see right away, not perfect circles, okay? And so this is another thing that you can do, a minute here and a minute there, is you've gotten all your color down. Now you can just go and start randomly adding some circles, some baseline to do all of your mandalas. So if you are not familiar with what a mandala is, let me grab a very quick down and dirty version. So this is kind of what we're going for. So this is like a half a mandala. A mandala would be a full circle of doodled marks that repeat themselves around in a circle, okay? And so basically I'm setting up some full ones like here and here and here, but a lot of them are going to be halves, all right? So that's what I'm really just starting with, is how can I go in and get myself set up for the next 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 minute that I have, okay? All right, so once I have all my circles done, then it's just a matter of one at a time filling them in with marks. So when I draw mandalas, what I want to do after I have the general circle shape is to fill it in with bigger sections that I can then continue down. So we'll look at our example again. So this scallop here would be a bigger section that later I would start to add smaller marks into. So the only rule I have with mandalas, I have one rule, and if you know me well, you know I don't have rules, is that whatever mark you make, I continue it around the whole time, all right? The reason being is that if I start like building up this section, I'll never remember how to repeat it all the way around. So it's more just so that you don't get frustrated. So if you want to think of it as one giant version, if you made a scallop mark here on this one, could you pick 2 more and do the same mark? So you're not trying to think too much. Mandalas are very, I find them very meditative, a little bit zen. I can lose myself in the mark making. So why overthink it? If you make one mark here, do it here, and then we'll pick a third section. Let's do this one. And do the same idea. It could be the same mark done in multiple sizes, or it could be I've taken the same mark, the scallop, and done it in all the same size 3 times. All right. So I want to share, this is something that is in my membership. I have a membership called the Creative Playground. It is where I teach creatives to embrace play, curiosity, what the heck will happen if I start doing this, and imperfection. This is as imperfect as you can get. I force the imperfection where I don't keep a perfect circle. I make the paint drip. I embrace the fact that my circles are all over the place. So I made this cheat sheet for them, And so this is something you could create for yourself if you wanted. You can always get it if you want to be part of my membership. The link is below. But what it is that when you're like, I don't know what to do, I created a cheat sheet that was, well, what about the spider web? Could we do that? What about, this little flower? Could we do that? And so it gets you to just find a mark that you like and put it down and start moving forward. So what I'm going to do exactly what I just said. So whatever mark pops in your head, you can also look around your house and see, what patterns are you wearing today? What patterns are on your furniture and the fabrics around you? Do you have plates and silverware and that have patterns on them, and rugs? Where can you find patterns? Is there a mark that you constantly make over and over and over again that that you really enjoy? Just go and start with that. It doesn't matter if you repeat the same mark multiple times. You'll never do it all exactly the same each time. So let it be, okay? I also want to point out that I'm going to pull this up. You can see that the circle is not perfect. You can see that my scallops are all different sizes, okay? But in the whole scheme of things, it's just about playing and being imperfect and messy. And to me, it's really about just the process. Just do it, all right? So I'm going to put some music on and I'm going to play, and I might finish it, I might not. And I hope that you will give yourself permission. This is an invitation to you to set up your own page and just spend a little bit of time here and there, diving in, tapping in, stepping in, putting a little toe into the water of your creative practice. 1 minute, 5 minutes, 15, whatever works for you. This is a great way to set yourself up for a daily-ish creative practice, all right? So set yourself up, grab a doodling pen, and let's play. Okay, so I could have kept going. I can keep going. You could even go in and add some white gel pen if you wanted to start brightening some sections up. This is just a way for me to share with you how to get started, what it would look like if you were just to add a little bit here and there, and you could see that I was bouncing a lot. There's so much more detail I can add to this if I want to, or it can be done and I can start a new page. So I hope it gives you some inspiration to set yourself up for some kind of dailyish creative practice, whether you use squares or you actually start with the circles or you use collage or just watercolor or just the doodling, whatever is speaking to you just that day, just set yourself up and play with it. All right. If you have tried grid journaling, or if you have a dailyish creative practice that you would like to share below, please do. It's always good to inspire others with what you're doing so that they can get some other ideas for themselves. If you enjoyed these videos, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please subscribe. And, you know, keep praying, keep playing, keep practicing, keep going down the curiosity rabbit hole of what's the next thing you can try. Embrace the imperfections, because really this is just about the doing and enjoying and delighting in our art supplies and our lives. Okay. All right. Thank you, friends, for being here with me today. Enjoy your little grid journal if you dive into this practice, and I will see you soon in another video. Thanks so much.